There is one rule that will get you girls so fast it feels illegal. In my senior year of high school, I was a virgin, and I convinced myself that the reason I didn't have a girlfriend or I didn't get with girls was because I didn't want to. And that all changed when I saw this really pretty girl in the library when I was walking around school with my friend. We stopped and I was like, I should go talk to her. And he was like, yeah, go do it. And I was like, well, and then I started making excuses because I was really shy and introverted and scared to talk to girls, but I did like her and I wanted to go talk to her, and this was a big change for me. So this went on for the entire period until I missed my opportunity completely. So I just got her Snap through a mutual friend. And my game was absolutely horrendous, from not going and just talking to her in the first place to what I was saying on Snap. The entire time I was trying to start like small conversation, mixing in like compliments, and it was really just weird and awkward. And as you can imagine, I didn't get the girl. And for the first time I realized that getting girls might not be as easy as I thought it would be, even if I tried. But if you follow the advice in this video, you'll absolutely conquer. And this takes me to the past summer in Sweden, when I decided to conquer a new city. It was an hour north from the one where I was currently staying, and I knew no one there. Not a single friend of mine was in that city, but I went all by myself, and very quickly I socially dominated. I would sometimes bring girls back to my hotel in as quick as 5 minutes, literally meeting them on the dance floor and being like, let's get out of here, going back and having a great time. So with that said, the number one rule for getting girls is going to be to treat them like an equal. See, a lot of you might think that you do because you're nice and respectful or you hold the door for them, but you're not actually treating them like an equal, and I'm gonna tell you why. And so you can fully understand this, I wanna take this aside from girls, and I want you to imagine that you are famous, you have millions of followers, and every single interaction, there's always fans wanting to get your picture, wanting to talk to you. They're an absolute all of you, and this happens all the time. You constantly have this like celebrity fan sort of dynamic in most of your conversations. So let's just say you went to a bar and one guy asks you, for a picture, and he's like, you want to get a drink? And he's just being a big fan once again. Do you think you'd want to hang out with him or the guy who's just sitting across the bars? Maybe there's a football game on and he's like, oh, did you see that touchdown? That was amazing. And then you just start talking and he's like, what's your name? He introduces himself. You guys just start talking about normal guy things and you have a normal conversation. Who do you think you're more likely to hang out with? Is it going to be the fan or the normal guy who just talks to you about normal guy things and doesn't make a big deal of the fact that you're famous, whether he knows or not? And now let's take this back to girls. So a girl might love getting compliments and it might feel great. But as we kind of saw in that previous example, celebrities don't hang out with their fans. And this is very, very true for girl and guy dynamics. Girls don't want to have a fanboy. They want to have a man. They want to have someone who is of higher value than they are. Girls look up to guys. So if you're instantly putting her above you, you're making this dynamic very, very difficult. And when you just go into conversations, treating her like an equal, allowing her to qualify herself to you, you're just actually trying to get to know her as a person, just asking her personal questions about herself, not being too impressed by her looks and her beauty, but just trying to get to know her as a person. This is going to be one of the easiest ways to not pedestalize a girl based off her looks and create that, fanboy kind of analogy that we went into earlier that's going to quickly kill your potential and attraction to a girl right off the bat. If you don't understand this next principle, you'll lose respect from girls, and that never works out long term. So let me take you back to this summer in Sweden when I met a girl at the club and I got her Snap. We didn't do anything that night, but we were talking over a couple weeks and ended up booking us a hotel in that city once again. And we met up there, we went out to dinner, we got some drinks that night, but this girl got so drunk. I was kind of excited for a nice chill night, not having to go to the club and get absolutely blackout drunk like it always happens there. And once again, this happened in just a normal hangout. We ended up seeing some of her friends in the town, so we hung out with another couple, and she wanted to hang out and drink all night long to the point where she was blackout drunk. And I was getting so frustrated. I was thinking I was gonna have a nice, easy night, just be on a date, talk, have a little bit of drinks, but not too much. And we got back at like 3:30, 4 in the morning. She was so drunk, she almost didn't make it back to the hotel. She was like struggling to walk back. The whole time I was like, I wish I didn't do this. And it was one of the worst dates I've been on. So after this, she wanted to go to like a festival together, and she also wanted to invite me to a Halloween party. And she kept asking and asking and asking. And the more she asked, the longer it would take for me to reply to her snaps, the more I just kind of felt pushed back. And this is the lesson, this is story number 1. So we're gonna go into a second story. And this is something that I'm not actually that proud of, but I'm gonna tell you for the sake of the story. So the first summer I went to Sweden, I was 20 years old. I was on an absolute win streak. I was only there for 5 months and 5 weeks, and I killed it with girls. And one girl about halfway through was one of the most gorgeous girls I've ever seen in my life. She was a little bit older. At that point, I was 20, she was 25. And we got to talk and she was really nice. But she didn't want to come home with me. She was like, if I was younger, I would, but I'm a little bit too old now for all that, and I'm like, okay. And I was trying though. I was trying all the plays. I was trying every angle I had. And I was still just like getting, I was just building my confidence at this point. So I didn't really know all the best plays, but I was trying my best. And so far it had been easy for me, but this girl was giving me a hard time, but I thought I could win her over because I was running on this confidence streak, getting with all these girls, and I tried the entire night. Like it hit 2 o'clock, everyone's going home, and I was still trying. I was outside the club like, this girl's coming home with me, you're coming home with me, right? And it was just not working out. And I really just embarrassed myself. And every time I tried, she just got further and further pushed away. And it never ended up working out, as you can imagine. The lesson here is that when someone knows they've won you over, they stop trying, and they can even feel pushed back and repulsed when you keep trying so hard, as we saw in both stories. The first one where the girl wanted me to hang out again, she kept trying, and every time I would end up just answering her snaps slower or just leaving her unopened sometimes. And even in the story where I was the clown, pushing so hard, trying to joke around with her to try to get her to come home with me, every single time she just kept getting pushed back and repulsed by me trying so hard and not catching the vibe that she obviously didn't want to come home with me. So girls are not gonna be respecting you if you're trying so hard. And this can even be in, more relationship, like you're starting to get to know girls. If you keep pushing so much and there's no mystery, there's no attraction, they're not gonna be interested in you long term. See, I'm gonna tell you why I think my game in Sweden works so well when I'm out at the club. So like this past summer, this is the game that I ran. So what I would do is I would just go around, talk to a bunch of girls, have basic conversations about them, very personalized questions, just get to know them a little bit, build some rapport, build some trust, and just come across as a nice, friendly, fun person who's out at the clubs having a good time. And I'm quite interesting in that I'm American, but I downplay and I kind of just use it to my advantage. So I'll go around, talk to her, get her snap, and then I'll just excuse myself to go to the bathroom or just say I'm gonna go talk to a friend or something. And then I kind of just do that on repeat where I talk to a bunch of girls. I'll end up maybe getting like 5 quality conversations in with girls. And of course I talk to many others, but like 5 really good conversations with girls who I could tell liked me from what they were saying, their nonverbal communication. And then I just ask them to come home with me. I pick my favorite one. If I see her around, I tell her to come home, or if after I haven't found them, I just text them after the club. And it works every single time because there is still that element of mystery, of attraction, of like this very unique guy out in Sweden. They don't come across many Americans. And I'm not pedestalizing them. I'm not putting them up. I'm not like, oh my God, you're so beautiful. I'm just talking to them about themselves, just getting to know them a little bit. And they find me interesting and attractive as well, but I'm leaving usually at the peak of the conversation. I'm not sticking around, hanging out with them all night. Of course I have plenty of times as well, but my normal game would just be that quick conversation, leaving at the peak. And then they're kind of left hanging where they want more. And they want to almost try. They're like, does he like me? Does he not like me? There's so many beautiful girls around, and they want to try, and they're receptive. And I think that's why this game works so well, because I'm not pedestalizing them. I'm just getting to know them, just being friendly. And I play to my advantages, and it just works really well as a whole. And here's the dummy-proof way to apply this knowledge that I wish I could have told myself in high school. And that's simply going to be, just have the courage and confidence to go and introduce yourself to girls and have a basic conversation talking about them most of the time, asking personalized questions whilst seeing their level of interest and reciprocity throughout this conversation to how much they like you. And it's genuinely that simple. And I'll give you an example from 2 nights ago when I went out with my friends. So I'll start with a bad example. So I went up to this girl, told her my name, I asked her name, introduced myself to her, and right after, she turned back to her friend group and she wasn't interested. And I have nothing to prove. I don't need to win this girl over, and I'm not going to win a girl over if she's not interested. I don't care to. So I just left. and I went to talk to many other girls. And then me and my boys, we had plenty of great conversations. I opened the conversations up and winged my boys off like 20 times. And I had some great conversations with girls myself. And we even brought my friend and I, 2 girls, back to my place and we hung out for a little bit. It wasn't anything crazy, but it was just a fun night. So it's like, either way, you're either, the rejections, they happen, don't take it too personal. And a simple conversation, as you can see, can take you so far. You don't need to pedestalize girls. You don't need to lead with compliments. Doing that is gonna be a common pitfall that's actually gonna deter from your success instead of actually helping it. So doing this is also gonna allow you to form some genuine connections. And this is gonna be something that girls really appreciate when you're actually trying to get to know them, instead of just saying some compliment that kind of comes across as like, you just wanna fuck. So this is gonna be the advice that I wish I knew, and if I did, I probably would have 10x the success that I have had with girls now if I knew this back in high school. So that's all for this video. I hope you got some value out of this. If you did, go ahead and make sure to hit that subscribe button. On here, I'm gonna be teaching you how to become attractive to girls and become the best version of yourself. So if that sounds of interest, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.